somebody I knew who used to train groups of Brits, Germans, French and Italians. And I thought this was quite interesting. She said, whenever I start a training course, it's supposed to start at 9 o'clock. She says, at 5 to 9, the Germans arrive so that they have time to unpack their bags and their pencils straight. Nobody arrives at 9 o'clock. The Brits arrive about 5 past 9, hugely apologetic and saying they've been reading the map upside down, which the Germans think is a very strange thing to say. About 10 past, the French arrive. Don't even mention the fact that they're late. And then finally, about 9:30, the Italians arrive and just go, ciao, everybody.
That going to Australia, they're an English-speaking country, you might think that actually you don't need to make very many changes to your communications at all. But it's surprising how we've thought it through. I mean, there are some words which are different, a bit like there are if you go to America. But also I think in terms of images, and this day and age where so much of what we do now is on the internet, we've been very clear and conscious of wanting to make sure that we put in images of things which are in Australia, for example, as well as things that happen over here.
The one thing I would say is, that, which is actually from an experience in the past, try and avoid metaphors. Try and avoid local sporting things to your own society, because people go, what? I mean, it's one of the worst things when I read a book and somebody starts going on about baseball, about which I know nothing. And I go, I don't know, I can't understand your story. So always try and keep it simple and straightforward.
If you take the USA, for example, the size A4 size is not the same as over here. So it might be a case of them saying, okay, you need to review your brochure and the size of it. So your brochure will actually go on the shelf like everybody else, rather than ending up in the bin because it doesn't fit in their filing cabinet.
When I go to a new society, always try and read up on the national history, on major cultural events, usually on interaction that there's been with Britain, because everybody's had something to do with us. We might have shot at them a few times, but generally speaking, there will be things in common. One of the nice things about dealing with the Middle East is that the weekend is often Thursday, Friday, which gives you 2 more days of the week for selling, Saturday and Sunday. The weekend has been abolished. But the other thing that you do is that you show that, yes, you are willing to work to their times. So they will get the same support on a Sunday as anybody else will get on a Wednesday.
And if they start at 4 o'clock in the morning your time, that they're not going to wait until
Absolutely.
You start work at 9 to get their answer.
That's right. Yes.
I think one of the common oversights is perhaps having a translated web page or web presence with direct UK contact and encouraging that, perhaps telephone number, and then optimising that website and actually putting quite a lot of resource into that website. But then when receiving inquiries from the overseas market, not being able to understand the local language.
One of the things I ask my clients to do is to type in into their browser google.de or google.es or google.fr, right? And just see how far their company comes up if you search through a foreign search engine. That's very interesting. And then the other thing I like to remind them is that their potential clients in other marketplaces are quite likely to be searching in their own language. And unless your client, unless the UK company actually has at least meta tags in those languages, they're not going to appear in the search engines. So that's one of the things that clients need to be very aware of. What is the reach and access of their website?
Again, the name, that's something you need to look at when about the name of your company. I came across a company who was a bit cautious about doing business with another company selling children's product, because that company in Germany was called Bully Land, and thought, for us it's not right, when actually those people in Germany were very, very big players. So it's how your name comes across, and
so
translation.
A company I know almost launched their new brand at a trade fair in Germany using the German version of the C word. It could have been a real successful
That's,
succès de scandale.